Us on this broadcast now is Ahmer Shaheen, a senior journalist who joins us from Karachi for more details on these very serious allegations, isn't it, Ahmer, against senior Pakistani past leadership. These are serious allegations of rape against former Pakistani Interior Minister Rehman Malik while he was in office, and allegations of assault against former Prime Minister Gilani while he was in office. What has been their response so far?
Their response has been they would not like to dignify that with a proper direct response. They have denied the allegations. Before we get into this allegation of sexual misconduct and all the way to rape, let's understand who Cynthia Ritchie is. Cynthia Ritchie, if anyone has been following the Pakistani media, is a propagandist of the Pakistani military establishment, and she has the kind of access to military places like fighter jets and tanks and all of that, which is unprecedented. Me as a Pakistani would only dream of sitting in the F-16s and all the airplanes that she is allowed unabated access to. And she is a very typical propagandist, which are very usually hired by the Pakistani military establishment. And their purpose is, it's an established purpose of maligning political parties. They threaten Pakistani citizens using powerful contacts in Pakistan.
Amir,
and we know who the
she may be a propagandist, Amir, but these are serious allegations. Shouldn't they be taken seriously?
Yes, I was getting to that. So I was just trying to explain what happened before these allegations started, so we have an idea of where we stand. Of course, we should take any allegation. I was reading her Cynthia's tweet about a female journalist, in which she was saying that if that female journalist claimed to be raped, then it would be very hard to believe, and she was commenting on her physical appearance. Of course, that would be ignorant of any journalist to do, including me. So Cynthia's allegations, despite the background that I was talking about, despite all of that, of course, her allegations need to be taken seriously, but the allegations of rape are secondary allegations to as a counter to what happened, the legal lawsuits that were filed. Let's not forget, only a day ago, it wasn't the rape allegations, and I think not in order to undermine the rape allegations, but also to give a clarity of what allegations had been happening 1 day or 2 days prior to the rape allegations, were that she was accusing the slain Prime Minister of Pakistan, the first female Prime Minister of the Muslim world, Benazir Bhutto, of using sex toys, and nobody talks about it because it's such a sad thing from a woman coming from, a murdered woman being accused of, buying expensive sex toys, her son being accused of being gay, and all of the rhetoric that we've listened to very frequently from the quarters of the military establishment. And then once the lawsuits were filed, this allegation of sexual assault and rape came into place. Of course, these are very serious allegations, and despite the fact that she is a textbook propagandist hired by the military establishment, she is a woman, she is a human being, and her allegations need to be investigated just like any other person's allegation would be investigated, including her allegations on India, that India is using hackers to deactivate her account.
Right. So, Amir, I was going to ask you, why did the PPP also file a complaint against Cynthia? Because I guess you have answered those questions. So you're saying PPP filed a complaint against Cynthia, and then she came up with these allegations against Rehman Malik and the former Pakistani Prime Minister as well. But we are talking about, serious allegations. So what has any investigation happened? She also claims that in 2011 she approached the US Embassy. Any leads on that, or have Pakistani authorities started or initiated any investigation?
I don't think, not just that they haven't started any investigations, they wouldn't until they need to. If they need to tighten the screw over Rehman Malik or any of Yusuf Raza Gilani, whose son was abducted as a result of him standing against terrorists, all these people, if they need to tighten this pressure, increase the pressure on these politicians, then they always have this rape allegation. Let's not forget, media houses and journalists are now being arrested for cases that were leveled 34 years ago. So this is something to keep in their sack. The other allegations that Cynthia has been leveling, they have not been investigated. They will be once they need to be. Let's also not forget that she had been talking about these people since a very long time, and she has not been taken seriously even yet. She hasn't gone to any law enforcement agencies. She claims to be officially providing service to the Pakistani military. The Pakistani military has never come out to deny that fact, or accept that fact for that matter. So I don't think anything is coming out of these rape allegations until and unless the Pakistan People's Party central leadership does not abide by the new rules that have been formed by the military establishment. Once they do not go for the changes in law that the military establishment want People's Party to be on board with, this will be used against them, and then the rape charges will culminate into police investigations and so forth. So far, the allegation is not a legal allegation, it's a social media allegation.
Right. Amir, one final question. She's also claimed that her family has been threatened by members of the PPP. Any clarity on that?
I would think, obviously I'm not privy to the facts, but I would not doubt that, because Twitter, the world of Twitter and the world of social media, when you are leveling such heinous accusations against, I'm not justifying harassment of her family, but I'm kind of understanding that unfortunately this happens. Harassment and threats and even rape threats happen on Twitter. It happens to all of us journalists. And it happens to anybody speaking against different political parties and so on. It is regrettable, and to my knowledge, she also took notice. She also took legal recourse against one individual who was threatening her. She shared his screenshots, and action was taken against that culprit. This will happen. This happens to people on both sides of the game, the pro-democracy people and the anti-democracy people. Harassment, threats, including rape threats to women, are part of the game on social media, and it's regrettable. But I would think that this is one accusation that one can actually see some weight in.
Certainly, social media has its positives and negative sides as well. Amir, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us and giving us all these details. Certainly, this news report has created a lot of ripples in Pakistani circles, and we hope there is a proper investigation. Meanwhile, mass protests continued across the United States of America for the 11th consecutive night over the killing of an unarmed black man, George Floyd, at the hands of a white police officer in Minneapolis. Let's bring you some of the major updates from U.S. cities. Hundreds gathered in Los Angeles to take a stand against police brutality calling for justice. Nearly 400 protesters marched to Santa Monica City Hall, where they took a knee honoring Floyd.
Wants to leave that George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis.
Many protesters even marched on the sand from Los Angeles' Venice Beach to Santa Monica, chanting "Black Lives Matter." Thousands of protesters in New York took to the streets calling for justice for Floyd and also Breonna Taylor.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Many demonstrators also marked Breonna Taylor's birthday during the Black Lives Matter rally. The 26-year-old worker was shot dead in her own home by police officers who barged in, alleging that her home had been used by drug dealers. In what was seen as a direct jibe at Donald Trump, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has changed the name of a plaza outside the White House. He's named it the Black Lives Matter Plaza. This newly christened corner is significant because this is where peaceful protesters were tear-gassed so that Trump could have his photo op. The mayor also unveiled a giant street mural which stretches up to 2 blocks just north of the White House itself. City workers painted Black Lives Matter in yellow along the street leading to the presidential mansion. In Chicago, U.S. rapper Kanye West joined the protesters in a massive rally against police brutality. According to reports, Kanye West has also established a college fund for George Floyd's 6-year-old daughter, Gianna. Meanwhile, as protests raged across the country, California Governor Gavin Newsom has ordered the state police training program to stop teaching officers how to use a hole that can block the flow of blood to the brain. This was the same police hole that killed George Floyd. California has become the first state to take any action, as other states across the United States of America are reconsidering the use of such restraints following the death of George Floyd, which has sparked massive protests not only in the U.S. but across the world.
That has no place any longer.